So in an assignment, we'll start there. When you move things over from resources or a shared group, the default for an assignment is to enable submissions. So that is the default. So theoretically, this should be visible. But one thing I would say is no matter where you're pulling it from, always follow it through. So make sure when you click edit on this, make sure that it's published. If you have a due date on it, make sure that the due date is correct and accurate, because some people have been putting wrong due dates on things. Make sure your category is how you want it graded. So is this the right category? Like I would go through and check all of these things. And then if I need to individually assign it, remember you can do things like grading groups if you have SPED kids and Gen Ed kids, so you can individually assign to the students that you need. Locking it, for an assignment, locking it makes it locked where kids cannot turn it, where kids cannot turn in assessments or assignments. And so you want to make sure you don't have it locked at the beginning. Let me zoom in for you. So this right here is your submissions enabled. So as long as this is lit up, then submissions are enabled. If you click it, then you notice it grays out and they are disabled. So this means students can see it, but they can't turn stuff in. So you would want to make sure it's turned on if you want students to turn it in. This little green thing is kind of like eSchool. It's like the green egg, where if it's if there's just an outline, it's unpublished, and if it's fully green, the kids can see it. And then comments. This is kind of a weird one, but some people want comments on their assignments and some people don't. Keep in mind, on an assignment, if you turn on comments, it means the students have the ability to say, this assignment is stupid, why are we doing this? It also means that students have the ability to accidentally turn in their entire assignment in a comment for everyone to see. Assignments are between the teacher and the student, just like in class. Assignments, assessments, and okay, well, I'm blanking, but assignments and assessments are the things that students turn back in that are only between the instructor and the student. So if you turn on comments, it means that students can now make comments on whatever you're doing in your assignment. So making sure big things are that submissions enabled, and then due dates and categories if you want it to show up in your grade book. And then the assessment is more one that you have to follow through. On an assessment, you always have to follow it through to your course, because the default is not to enable submissions, and you have to turn that on. So again, due date here, making sure the due date is accurate, that the times make sense. I've seen some people who have accidentally done 11:59 a.m. and so the kids think they have all day and then it cuts off at noon. But the submissions, this defaults to disable. And so if you want students to be able to turn it in, you need to enable them, enable until a certain date, or enable from a date until a date. So I have seen some teachers who are like, my kids are all really well versed in Schoology, and so I'm telling them, like, you log in Monday, you watch some videos, and then the assessment will be available Wednesday. I've also, like, I personally have done enable until and left it open as long as possible, because I want to make sure if my kids log in Monday that they can get everything done. And then again, those categories, individually assigning, and then you have way less options here. Right. You can individually assign, you can publish and see those grade statistics, and that's the only thing you can do there. Other things you might want to make sure you're doing if you move something over that someone else has created is that setup. So these instructions are the things the students can see beforehand. So if there's anything you want to make sure that they see, like you only have one attempt or you only have an hour to take it, you'd want to make sure you put that in the instructions if somebody else didn't. I've seen a lot of people skipping this and sharing it with other people. And so you want to make sure if there's anything you need for your students. Also remember, you can make that text big, right? So don't forget, you know.
Right. And highlight and all that fun stuff.
Yes. Turning on that time limit. If you have kids who need text to speech toolbars, that might not be something that the person who made it has turned on, but if you are copying to do like a modified assessment or something for SPED, you might want to turn that text to speech toolbar on. I don't know if y'all just got the email about students being able to use the Snap and Read or Snap Read, whatever.
Hello?
But some people, hey.
Hold on just a second.
I don't know if she's talking to me. I'm just going to keep going.
No, Kelly, your mic's on.
Sorry.
Good. I can mute you. Oh, she muted it. But the text-to-speech toolbar is something you might want to make sure is turned on. And then the view settings, some teachers may not want this. I might want my students to try it 3 times, but not be able to see the correct answers, because why am I going to let them try it 3 times, you know? So I would say those settings as well, those setup questions, might be something you want to make sure that you're monitoring when you bring it into your course as well. Great question.